How are you getting on, folks? Look at fairly decent day today. Look at I suppose just when I suppose uploaded the video and when I realised what gamble there was on this Indiana Jones in the second race today, I look at I suppose I was just probably one of the lucky ones that spotted it by the time I had the video recorded and the 30 to 40 minutes for it to upload onto YouTube. The price had just deteriorated massively. Personally, I don't think it was more so for money down. Well, I'd say there was a little bit of money down, but the fact that it went from 16 to 1 into 4 to 1 straight, I think there might have been a little bit of a mistake from the bookies. But either way, um, I hope there's a few people that I suppose got on before listening to me at 16 to 1 and took away a fairly decent pot. But overall, I think at level stakes anyway, like we were going to be in profit anyway. Just I suppose we were unlucky with the likes of the first horse there, the Fame and Glory horse. Just I suppose it met a fitter rival. The bumper horse, like you probably said, it was Willie Mullins' only runner of the day, so that was obviously a sign. But yeah, I suppose we may as well crack things on now anyway. I'm going to do another Cheltenham Ante-Post video. I don't know whether people are going to have too much interest in it yet or not, but I've had a look through. There's some very nice prices. There's some pretty nice possibilities as well. Just I suppose to keep an eye out for, and I suppose to keep a close eye in the market when horses start becoming available and different things like that. But really and truly, I'm going to be going off a book that's the Hacked Up Racing Road to Cheltenham 2021. Kindly was, I suppose, sent to me by Lloyd, the man behind Hacked Up Racing. We have struck up a little bit of a deal. You can, I suppose, purchase this for, I think, a 20% discount using the discount code Peaky20. That's, say, for all my followers and everything else like that. I've had a look through. There's numerous pages in here. I don't even know how many is in here, but it covers all. Not only does it cover, say, all the races in Cheltenham, but it covers, I suppose, the races to look out for these particular races as well. As well as that, Lloyd and a few, I suppose, the likes of Darrell Carter, the two of them have done Cheltenham Ante-Post tips as well. Lloyd is absolutely smashing them out on Twitter. That's the Hacked Up Racing Twitter account. And look at Darrell is Darrell at the end of the day. Darrell's a professional tipster. But yeah, we're going to take a look at the Cheltenham Ante-Post. There's four. I'm going to do, say, 4 videos or 4 races per video. I think that's generally consistent enough. They'll be in or around 25 to 30 minutes long to, I suppose, discuss in fairly decent detail. But I suppose first we're going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at the cross country here, and I know some people are going to be looking at me and thinking, well, it's possibly one of the most straightforward races of the festival. Really, like there's 2 horses in here really with a serious chance. Easy's landed 2 to 1. Tiger Roll at 4 to 1. They're the really 2 at the moment to be looking at. In my personal opinion, Tiger Roll he's getting on in life now. I think. As much as I love him and as much as I suppose everyone in Ireland and England loves him, I think he has seen better days. I think he's going to be 12 or 13 going for this, I suppose, Grand National this year, so it's going to be a trickier task. But I suppose if there's anyone to get him there, it's going to be Gordon. At the minute, 4 to 1 definitely looks to be some sort of value there for Tiger Roll. But for me, the nap of this race is going to be Easy's Land. You have to allow for a certain amount of, I suppose, improvement and everything else like that. Looking down through the rest of the list that's up, there's only, I think, was there 2, 4, 6. There's 6 horses listed up here now at the minute. Not really else in here that looks anyway, I suppose, valuable really. Of Amazing Comedy, Champagne Classic, Diesel Dalier, Alcada. They're trading at 12 to 1, 16 to 1, 20 to 1, 33 to 1 respectively. But for me, in my personal opinion, this could be a serious race for Presenting Percy. Now, people are going to be looking at me thinking that I have 20 heads and I'm talking 20 different languages. But guys, really and truly, when you're talking about Presenting Percy, you're talking about a horse. I suppose the best way to describe him, it's this generation's Beef or Salmon. Beef or Salmon bet 5, what should we call it, 5 Gold Cup winners, but couldn't win a Gold Cup himself. Presenting Percy had album photo in the RSA, the guts of 10, 12 lengths beaten, before going on to hose up in that race. Since then, he has flopped. There's no way to, I suppose, say it. He has flopped. He had, I suppose, opportunities to go and win races. He didn't do it. In my opinion, he's lost the love of racing, and I think he's just, in terms of gone past his best, I think there's very little room for manoeuvre with him. I think in terms of, I suppose, improving him, or I suppose taking him to the next level, he's gone past that. I can't honestly say that Presenting Percy is going to win a Gold Cup. Now, you have to argue there that the race in Down Ryle was the best race he ran in God knows how many years, but he still only managed to finish 4th. That was behind Chris's Dream, who absolutely flopped out of the Gold Cup, but really and truly the ground was against him that day. The Storyteller, who's in serious form, 2A Permy, who is generally fairly consistent around Down Ryle and coming from the yard is in serious form, and then, Presenting Percy then was 4th. But Presenting Percy looked like the one that was going to trouble Chris's Dream, and instead a horse that was, I suppose, looked like push was coming to shove for him a little bit, coming, I suppose, to maybe 2 out or 3 out. Even though, he did stay on very, very well with the Storyteller, but I think the cross country could be a race to revive Presenting Percy, in the sense that when you look at what it did for Tiger Roll, don't forget, Tiger Roll was very close to being, I suppose, sold off and branded as a has-been, really, at the end of the day, before actually going cross-country racing. It's generally a race that, I suppose, brings, I suppose, it can bring improvement to a horse, but at the same time, it's generally, if the horse isn't a specialist in this sort of race, it's generally for, I suppose, the older horses and the veterans, that just, I suppose, are difficult enough to get over, the normal chasing fences. But in my personal opinion, if Gordon Elliott is talking about going for the Grand National with Presenting Percy, stay away from the Gold Cup. See if he'll stay at this sort of trip. See if he'll stay at, I think it's 3 mile 7 or 3 mile 6 for the cross-country chase. Send them off to Punchestown. Send them off somewhere where there's banks, and send them off just to see whether he will be any good at these sorts of races or not. Keep an eye on this market, folks, because I definitely think Presenting Percy, whether it's going to be, I suppose, this side of Christmas or the far side of Christmas, keep a close eye on that market, because if Presenting Percy comes up at a price of in and around, I suppose you could say 50 to 1 to 80 to 1, because generally people are more, I suppose, focused on Presenting Percy being a Gold Cup horse. I don't think he's going there this year. I think Gordon Elliott might have a bit of a plan with him, the same plan he had with Tiger Roll. Send him cross country. Send him over these funny jumps. Just to maybe, I suppose, trick with his mind a little bit and say, well, oh, this is new and oh, I have to think about this now coming up here. I think the problem with, I suppose, presenting Percy is the fact that he was possibly, I suppose, overworked with his time in Pat Kelly. Now that's not going on saying that Pat Kelly ruined him or anything like that. But when you look at the way he bet Album Photo and both the profiles since, Album Photo has ran twice a year since that fall in Cheltenham in the RSA. Presenting Percy was running the guts of 2 weeks, a month, every I suppose between races really at the end of the day. It doesn't really give too much time to rest and rejuvenate and I suppose refill the tank. Possibly, I suppose, it's coming back to bite him now. I think he's sort of just running on fumes and it's just I suppose an everyday aspect now. I think the will to win is gone in terms of, I suppose, your general everyday or everyday chases. I don't think he's going to ever win a Gold Cup. I don't think he's ever going to win a Group 1 chase in Ireland again. I just think I suppose the spark is gone from him. But that spark can be got again by going cross-country chasing. That's my opinion. I'm not telling Gordon Elliott how to train his horses by any means, but I definitely think a go at the cross-country would be nothing to lose. At the end of the day, I think he'd have a fantastic chance at an each-way price. The fact that he's aimed at a Grand National, I would be seriously considering, as soon as the market comes up, if the market does come up for the cross-country, to have €1 each way on him, or to have whatever each way, like something small, whatever I suppose is classed as small to you, stick it each way. There's no harm. If Presenting Percy comes in at 80 to 1 and goes off at, I suppose, 10 or 12 to 1 and comes in third, we're all laughing. That's the way I look at it. So generally, look at Easy Land is going to win. And if Presenting Percy comes up at a mad price for an each-way shout, I'd definitely be putting him in instead of going backing him for a Gold Cup. That's just my opinion. Really and truly, that's all I have to say on the matter. Moving on then to the next race that we're going to cover. This one here is going to be the Mayor's Novices Hurdle. Really and truly, it should be called the Willie Mullins' Mayor's Novices Hurdle. The form with Willie Mullins in this race is... it's perfect. It's 100%. Since this race has been introduced into Cheltenham, he's won it every single year. Sometimes he's had the first and second home. Really and truly, the man is a genius, and the man has the best mares in training at the end of the day. But I suppose there's plenty in here that do take plenty of fancying as well at the same time. I suppose, first of all, we may as well run through a few of the ones in the market here. Obviously, look at She Wears It Well for the Closutton Racing Club. Currently tops the market here at 6 to 1. Gypsy Island 10 to 1. Finest Evermore 10 to 1. Estelle Mabel 10 to 1. Mrs. Hyde 14 to 1. Queensbrook 20 to 1. Grangy at 20 to 1. And Sky Ace way out at 40 to 1. In my personal opinion, folks, look at, I suppose, which She Wears It Well, you would, I suppose, have to seriously consider her. She's undefeated. And now that she is the top-rated novice in Ireland, between, I suppose, Geldens and Mayors itself, she is worthy favourite. Like, she's the best novice mare in training, and she's the best novice in general in training over hurdles. In my personal opinion, 6 to 1, I'd be having a small little bet on it to win. Really and truly, we don't really know where this mare is going to go. Like, she's already proven that she can mix it in with the boys very, very well. And I suppose we will be going on to that a little bit later. But 6 to 1, I definitely would be having a a small. I wouldn't be going too mad, but I'd be having a small bet on it. Um, Gypsy Island, we don't really know what the story is there. Finest Evermore, Estelle Mabel, they're all, I suppose, decent enough chances. But the one that catches my eye at this current time is Grangy at 20 to 1. Uh, Recently, absolutely hosed up in a bumper in Galway there. I think it was last week, or it was either last week or the week before. I think it was last, it could have been last Sunday or last Saturday. Really and truly, that was very, very impressive. That really caught my eye that day. Um, that horse could be absolutely anything. Really and truly, Willie Mullins isn't going to waste his time with that one. Going around in bumpers, really and truly, there's no point in going around bumper to bumper and absolutely hosing up and not seeing what this horse is capable over jumps. This one here definitely looks to be one that's going to be a steady progressor, like she wears it well, I suppose, at the end of the day. And it was the same route that Willie went when she wears it well as well, starting her off in Galway. But I definitely think for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, 20 to 1, you'd be hard up not to have a small each way bet in this one. I definitely think the more it races, the better it gets. It's going to be well able to jump a hurdle. It definitely looks to be one that's going to be well, I suppose, well suited to hurdles. It's well built. It's a big sort of a stocky mare. I suppose really and truly, the more she races, the better she'll get, and I definitely think she'll have plenty more racing in her over, I suppose, from now until Cheltenham. Why you'd be getting on at 20 to 1 now is the fact that more than likely she's going to be going novice hurdling now. And more than likely she'll be meeting horses that are well within her capabilities of beating. She'll probably go on and hose up like she did in Galway. Then that price is going to halve. So immediately you're going to be looking at a fairly decent cash out and a fairly decent, I suppose, return. Should this mare, I suppose, be announced, I suppose, later on in the day that they're not going for this race, and then just knock it on the head, cash out at some sort of profit, and I suppose focus on a different horse. But really and truly, I'm going to make a bold prediction here now. I think personally it's between She Wears It Well and Grangy at the minute. I know that's a very bold statement with Grangy because we don't know what she's going to be like over hurdles, but I definitely think that this Grangy is going to be very, very special. It looks to be a very special mare in training, and I definitely think it's going to be definitely well worth a shout. Sky Ace though definitely has to be the best price mare of the meeting at the Ante-Post market, should I say. When you look at her run last time out, I suppose I put up an article about 3 months ago, focusing on horses to follow, and at the top of the list for novice hurdlers, She Wears It Well. Sky Ace was top of the list. I was absolutely sick in the day in Downrail when I didn't have a couple of quid each way knocking around at this horse at 66 to 1 when it went on to beat Queen's Brook. Now, here's the interesting fact. Should this horse go to Cheltenham, and should this horse be entered into this race, which it wouldn't be out of the question now, it's already beaten Queen's Brook, who is half the price of Sky Ace. So immediately you're getting some serious value there. It's well ahead of Polites, who's ahead of it as well. I think Polites is currently trading around 33 to 1. I definitely think Sky Ace will definitely have a couple more wins in the book. I look at possibly it's not really at the, I suppose, the distance of suitability, but it's already won a race at this, I suppose, trip. So really and truly, we could be looking at one of the most versatile mares in training. Personally speaking, though, it is, I suppose, a sentimental horse. It's a rags to riches story, taken off the Willie Mullins books for €600. Yes, €600. That's how cheap this mare was to get, and I think she's returned already to the ownership. Something like 47,000. Like, that is crazy turnover. Like, that's the guts of, like, by the time Cheltenham comes, you could honestly say that this horse could have turned over 50 to 60,000 in profit for this I suppose group of owners. I think there's only two of them. Um, two of them in this particular syndicate. But my God, what a mare she's been. Should she go to Cheltenham, I definitely would be having a euro or €2 each way at 40 to 1. You'd be mad not to. I definitely think between Grangie at 20 to 1 and Sky Ace at 40 to 1, you're definitely looking at a very, very good, I suppose, each way market there. And in particular, this race has been known to, I suppose, throw a few outsiders in the winner's enclosure as well. Next race then we're going to look at the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Fernie Hollow tops the market 10 to 1, Ballyadam 10 to 1, Appreciated 14 to 1, Micromanage 16 to 1, She Wears It Well 16 to 1, and Cask Mate 20 to 1. They're, I suppose, the ones that are really catching my eye. Look at, you can make a case for any of them. In my personal opinion though, I know I said, look at, we'd be having a couple of bob on She Wears It Well to win the mares. But the Supreme looks very much in her range. Especially when you give that £7 mare's allowance. She'll be running off 11 stone. Regardless of how well she does or how much more she improves. Like, don't forget, this mare is already won off 11.9. Now, granted, it's not going to be in the same standard of field that she's going to be meeting in Cheltenham. But she won hard held that day. She won hard held against the boys of, I think, was it 11-10 or something along them lines like that. Actually, no, it probably wasn't because she was getting the mare's allowance that day. But she won that race very, very comfortably. Like, really and truly, 16 to 1 is massive for She Wears It Well. Considering she is, like I said, the top rated novice in training. She's well able to mix it in with the boys. There's, I suppose, a couple of these at the top of the market here that we don't actually know where in the name of God they're going. Obviously, look at Fernie Hollow and Ballyadam. The two of them aren't going to meet each other. Definitely not. Cheveley Park are going to look to take over racing this year, and they're going to, I suppose, try and disperse the runners as best they can in all of Cheltenham. Like, so really and truly, you're going to be probably looking at plenty of Cheveley Park winners this year. In my opinion, it looks like possibly a race for Ballyadam, maybe. I think Fernie Hollow will follow Enviolin's route to the Ballymore. Appreciated will probably go to the Supreme. But we don't know how good Appreciated is going to be over hurdles, really, at the end of the day. Look, at obviously you would expect him to be top class. I don't think anyone would disagree with it, but it's hard to know really where he's going to go as well. Like, it's like all these horses at the top of the market, we don't really know, and it's a race that no one really knows where they're going. But if She Wears It Well can keep improving, and if She Wears It Well can keep winning her races, I would be very tempted to stick a couple of quid each way now on the Supreme, because at the end of the day, it is better value and you can always cash out. That's the way I see it. You can always cash out once you sort of have an opinion or where she's going to go. Usually when they're running against the boys on a consistent basis, they're going to be going for, I suppose, a mixed race instead of like a mare's race or anything along them lines like that. Really and truly, She Wears It Well nearly looks too good for the mare's novice, in my opinion. Another one I suppose you could put up there is Cask Mate at 20 to 1. That's one I'm certainly really interested in. Been very much a revelation for the, I suppose, Noel Mead setup here. Been very, very good over the hurdles. Sean Flanagan said after the race that there was plenty of horse in them there last day. I think definitely they would be able to take their chance. And definitely this sort of a race would be well within their range. if the ground turns up real wintry and everything else like that, it would have a serious chance. Obviously, look at when I'm talking about that, I'm not trying to predict the weather for March of next year. That's impossible. But have a couple of quid each way on Castmate now. The reason why I'm saying this, like I said, Castmate is a winter horse, possibly one of the best winter horses in, I suppose, Noel Mead's yard at the minute. The more he runs, more than likely he's going to win plenty more races. So that price is going to shorten. And every time that price shortens, the bigger the cash out. Really and truly, that's the way you want to be looking. If something goes wrong or something, I suppose, doesn't really look right, cash out. That's the way I see it. Sometimes it's better to leave them, and sometimes it's better to cash. You have to, I suppose, try and weigh it up in your head. Where is this horse going to go? Where is he going to, I suppose, face for next? Is he going to win next time out? If he isn't, cash out and then possibly put a few bob more when he drifts out in price again. That's the way I like to look at things. Sometimes like that, it likes to play tricks in your mind like that. And really and truly, 20 to 1 now, you'd definitely be looking at, I suppose, 10, 12 to 1 by, I suppose, you could say January, February, really, at the end of the day, considering this horse is going to go on to plenty more races from now until then. I don't know, I think 20 to 1 is definitely well worth sticking a few bob on each way. Now, next race of the day, the Marsh Novice Chase, the banker of the festival. Really and truly, this one here I am so excited about. You've got Enviolin 2 to 1. This one here is definitely the banker in my opinion. Shiskin at 20 to, or 12 to 1. I would be totally avoiding. That horse is going straight for the Arkle. Forget about the Marsh. Forget about anything else. This horse is going straight for the Arkle. So 12 to 1, you're only wasting your money backing it for that race. The big getaway, 14 to 1. Monkfish, 14 to 1. Yeah, it could be well worth, I suppose, getting on each way. The two of them definitely look like maybe Marsh would be the way to go for them. But really and truly, if you're going to be backing anything, Enviolin is still great value at 2 to 1. Really and truly, if this horse keeps winning races and this horse keeps, I suppose, going on to bigger and better things, he'll be like what he was for the Ballymore last year. He'll be odds on. So really and truly, what way do you want to do it? Do you want to wait until the Cheltenham Festival and back him on at odds on and have to lump on him to get any sort of, I suppose, return? Or do you want to back him now, that we know that the Marsh is the way he's going to be going and we know that that's going to be his target? I think 2 to 1 is still a great value here, folks. Really and truly, in my personal opinion, this horse is the best horse in training. I know that's very bold and a very bold statement to make, but I suppose look at the fact that it's a novice. I know it's a bold statement. I know it's very much out there, but like, what has he lost against? He's lost absolutely nothing, and he's made little and light work of, I suppose, Group 1 standard horses. Really and truly, when you're looking at what he's facing or what he's actually going to face in the Marsh, it's nothing that he hasn't already faced in, I suppose, his hurdle days or his bumper days. The ones that he's already put to sleep. In my personal opinion, I have never seen a horse so good first time out over jumps. No matter what way he was coming in, whether he was, I suppose, a stride early or a stride late, he was clearing those fences without even touching a twig, and he was making it look so simple. You could nearly throw a newborn baby on his back and he'd still have it on his back by the time he runs past the finishing line. That's how good he was over jumps. Yeah, you can argue that he bet nothing, but in my opinion, it wasn't about what he bet. It was about what way he went about it. And the way he went about it was the best I have actually ever seen a novice start off first time out. This lad can only get better. Really and truly, you're looking at, I suppose, the newcomers to the jumps. Okay, yeah, Menelindo was fairly decent. Andy Dufresne, decent enough as well. Latest exhibition was a bit chancy here and there. I suppose as they all were really at the end of the day. But you have to say, this horse here at, I suppose, look at, I put up, I suppose, after Cheltenham this year, I put up the Marsh is probably where he's going to go. I thought the RSA was going to be a little bit too much for him too soon, because I suppose, look at, it's hard to know really what, like, I know, look at, his main objective in time to come is probably going to be the Gold Cup, and that's exactly probably where he's going to go. But the Marsh looked like it was always going to be in his favour, because at the end of the day, he's unbeaten now for going on 3 seasons. This is the start of the 3rd season unbeaten. In my personal opinion, what he's going to meet in the Marsh compared to what he's going to meet in the like of, I suppose, the RSA, like, he probably could go to the Arkle if he wanted to as well, but really and truly, I definitely think Violin at 2-1 for the Marsh, considering the fact that we know exactly that's the race he's going to be going for now, is definitely massive, massive value. I would, I suppose, say, like, I since I was on, I suppose, after Cheltenham, I'm on at 6-1. At the minute, I'm very happy. I'm actually I've how would you say what I'm trying to say? I've probably overshot my expectations. Or he's overshot my expectations, really. I didn't expect him to be as good as he was. And really and truly, you have to really expect more improvement of him, because that was his first time to ever, I suppose, see a jump on a rules, I suppose, racetrack. Like, this horse could be the best horse we have ever seen over a jump. And that, in my opinion, is a very, very scary fact to think. But that's all I have for, I suppose, this episode. We've done 4. Like I said, look, it's gone to 30 minutes now. This book here, I would suggest anyone who is a racing fan to get on board. Hacked Up Racing. I'll leave a link to the website below. Don't forget, if you're going to be ordering the book, put in Peaky20 for your 20% discount. It's currently, I think the price of it's in or around a tenner. So you're knocking two quid off, but £2 is more, I suppose, to throw into the Ante-Post market than I suppose we would have before. But look, thanks very much. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. I'll be back, I suppose. I didn't actually have a look at the meetings for next week. I don't know when I'll be back for the Irish racing, but I'll be back whenever the night before, whenever the, I suppose, next meeting is. Thanks again. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and yeah, best of luck. Let me know what you think.